Cornelius! Sit back down. What are you doing? Get back up here. Do the hokey pokey. All right. Get out of the seat. You're not talking. All right. Hello, Mr. Bashirs. I was looking at my FAC poster and had some questions I was hoping you could answer. Academics, number 1. Contact. Does meeting with a visitor at your school count? Oh, wait. She's talking about number 3. Number 2, student-led conferences. My school doesn't do student-led conferences. Shake your heads, everyone. Every school should do student-led conferences. Can I do one at home? Question 3, college entrance portfolio. Number 10. I'm not going to college for another 8 years. Can I print out an application to my dream school and fill it out? I also had an idea I thought you might be able to add to the poster. Academics, dream career contact. I was thinking you can add a section to the poster where students like me can email or meet up with a person with their dream career. I think she's trying to say have part of the poster be where you actually make contact and interview somebody that's going to be in the career you want to pursue. So if you want to be a veterinarian, you want to go interview a vet, for example. At the meeting, I would then interview him or her about his or her childhood, college experience, inspiration, and hardships. Sounds like she knows a lot about motivation, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Bashirs, for taking a couple of minutes to read my letter. I would really appreciate it if you could write me back soon. Sincerely, Delaney Donahue, Miss Regalado's daughter. So, that's why I'm recording this. Can anybody help me answer these questions? Good. If you are going to answer these questions, I'm going to probably want to put you on YouTube because her questions are probably questions that other kids might have. So let's start off with the first question. Does meeting with a visitor at your school count? So let me think of some scenarios where, because right here it's scheduled as making contact with somebody like the superintendent who's like the boss's boss's boss. You can either send an email and they contact you back, but if you could get a meeting, on here it's listed as 5 points for a meeting. But maybe there's an instance where the superintendent comes and visits the school. Would you count that the same? If so, why? If no, why not? And how many points would it be? Anybody wish to answer that? CJ? What is your name?
JC.
You said it backwards.
CJ.
Question number 1. Does meeting a visitor at your school count? What do you say to that?
I would say yes, because if you've never met them or if they're visiting the school to see how it is, like in CAPS, the Boys and Girls Club, they're visitors to CAPS. So yes, I would say that's a visitor because you're meeting them and they're meeting you.
Mm-hmm. I would say it depends on the situation. So if the superintendent, Dr. Marsden, comes by and I give him a high five, I would not count that as a point. And of course, if you have a meeting with somebody important and you have a sit down and a cup of tea and it's longer than 5 or 10 minutes, then I give myself more points. I must have an idea. But it depends, and really, doesn't matter what we think. Is it our poster? It's not my poster. All right. So, Delaney, depends on you. Use your own judgment. Scram. Who wants to answer the student-led conference one? I think that one's pretty straightforward. My school doesn't do student-led conferences. Shake your heads.
Nope.
Can I do one at home? Can you make noise with that bottle? Because it's awesome. It adds to the sound quality. Princess, come up here. The rest of you be quiet. You're really trying to get my attention now with the bottles. All right. You've had student-led conferences, right?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Jasmine.
Princess.
Princess Sen.
Okay, so you're a veteran of student-led conferences. What does it say? My school doesn't do student-led conferences. Shake your head. What a shame. Can I do one at home? What do you say to that?
Yes, because it still counts if you do a student-led conference at home, because if you're not doing it at school, you could tell your teacher that you did it at home.
Mm-hmm. And again, who's keeping the points?
The teacher?
No, the student. You are. All right, scram. Okay, come here. Somebody needs to be on camera. What's your name?
Amari.
Yeah. I'm joking. What's your name?
Amari.
All right, what do you say about student-led conferences?
I say you can wait. Like the question was you can do it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I say you can do it at home because, especially since her mother is a principal, she knows a lot.
Yeah, Mom. In order to be a principal, you have to be a teacher.
Yeah. And she can ask her mom. She can tell her mom what's happening at school. See, every day I tell my mom what happens and how I was doing. And I would say if something's new when I go up to another class, like since I'm in Mr. Zubak's. On the first day I found out that I was going to be in Mrs. Zubak's, I told her, my mommy, and I also told my mommy that about the donut graph circle, and when I did that, I told her I was in the green one, so that I kind of told her about school in like kind of like a student-led conference.
Cool. I would say this is more of a clear yes, because the point of a student-led conference is the student leads the conference. Every school should be doing them. I don't know why. It's easier for the teacher. And the point of a conference is to give information to the parent. But really, the information is useless unless the student knows the information as well, right? If I know you're a good reader, and you know you're a good reader, and your mom knows you're a good reader, and you have no idea why, then how are you supposed to even better your reading, or how do you fix any problems, right? We've had student-led conferences in the past where we just taught chess. And it was just the whole conference was parents come in and you teach them chess. It's what you want it to be. And again, I'm not keeping points. She keeps points on hers. I keep points on mine. If you think it's worthy, if you had a meaningful conversation, it's worth some points. You just find some check mark somewhere. Thank you, and scram. I'll have to answer the next one because we haven't talked about it yet. College entrance portfolio. I'm not going to college for another 8 years. Can I print out an application to my dream school and fill it out? We have done this in our class. So we've printed out applications, we filled them out, but the most important part of an application is knowing what's blank and what's not blank. So that in and of itself I think is worth points, and we should give ourselves points for it as a class. Now the entrance portfolio is another project that we started doing but we didn't finish because we're doing Arabic. But it's basically taking your 3-ring binder, and instead of it being English, math, and so on, it's what we were studying, the parts of the application. Tests, right? Remember we looked up tests, SAT and all that. Extracurricular like clubs, sports, and separating it that way. And as you do stuff, you start putting in information. So by the time you go to college, you have a thick binder that has all your awards and everything. So that's what it is. What did she say? Can I do that at home? Yes. Can I fill out an application? Yes. Actually, filling out the application is the same thing. We're just adding papers. The purpose of that is twofold. It's number one, to know where you're strong and where you're weak. Because if all you do is sports, you might want to spend a year maybe exploring music. And the second thing is to keep documentation. So when you do apply to college, you know exactly when you got everything, because you'll forget. All right. This one is an opinion question. I don't know if we have space to add, but one cool thing we can do, obviously this is not perfect. The only perfect part about this is this part. What does that say?
That says authors William Bashir.
Yeah, that thing is perfect. William Bashir's is perfect.
Sure is.
All right. Quiet. I'm joking. There is no document that's perfect. This is going to be limited by quite a few things. The size of the paper. The amount of energy, because if this paper was 5 feet long, it would have more things, but nobody would want to fill it out because it'd be 5 feet long. Good luck hanging that up in your house. And of course, we have families that are maybe already doing all this stuff and they need an updated one. Or maybe they've never done it and it's very hard and they need a simplified one. There's a lot of different ways we could change it. But the best way to change it is to take your pencil and pen and write all over it and make your own. Mine has my own prejudices as a teacher. I told you before, where is it? Dedicated wall space is worth 5 points. To have a bulletin board in your house is worth 5 points. It is possibly the easiest thing to do, Sienna. However, it's important to me because if you have a piece of your wall that everyone sees, and we put up something there like the maker space, your parents are going to see it 50 times. They're not going to forget it. You don't have to remind them. If your reading score line is up there and you see where your goal is, and you have little mini goals like I'm going to read extra 10 minutes this week, you're going to see it every day. So for me, that piece of real estate is very important. It's more important than anything in this room because it's at your home. And if you think about it, people spend a lot of money just getting a billboard that says eat at McDonald's, right? They spend thousands of dollars for that. They would spend a lot more if they could get inside each person's house. So that's why it's worth 5 points. But some people might say, what? I don't get it. You just staple some stuff on the wall? Well, yeah, if you just staple some stuff on the wall, it's worthless. But if you staple meaningful things on the wall, and you look at it, and you write on it, and you engage, and you take notes, and you add numbers, then of course it's worth more. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Does a whiteboard count?
It's whatever works for you. I think the big message of this video is this is not perfect, and it depends on you. There's no way I can enforce it. I cannot follow you home and make sure you're being honest. And even if I could, we would probably disagree, which is fine. It's your poster. I don't own it. This is your poster. That is your life. It's up to you to decide what's important for you, what's missing, what you're afraid of that you need to pursue, what you're very good at, and maybe it's not worth 3 points because for you it's easy. It's up for you to decide. One last question before we sign off. Yes, Mom? Yeah, Adamari actually started adding the 7 tenets. She made an extra one from Racing in the Rain. Girl, you can't film without permission. Turn it off. So, the reason I read this in front of you and I asked for permission from Miss Regalado was to, number one, show you that the principal's doing this as well. You know it's real homework if the principal does it. Number two, based on this evidence, because I've never met Delaney, I'm sure she's a wonderful kid, but I never met her. Does it sound like the principal had a meaningful discussion with her? Yeah. You cannot have these questions without having a meaningful discussion. Now, some people might see the questions, stop that. Some people might see the questions as kind of a problem that need to be solved, but I see them as this is evidence that people are thinking and talking. So if your mom and dad has questions, that's fine. If they disagree with you, they go, you didn't really read. Give them, be like, okay, I won't count that point. But if I read for the next 10 minutes, can I get 2 points? Start the conversation with mom and dad. This is a piece of paper. It's worth nothing unless it means something to you. All right, everybody say thank you. All right, turn it off.